starting lineup of your favorite show. At producer, 5'11" from Blanchester, the Cow Killer, Casey McCollister. And comic engineer, standing at 4'8", the pride of the West Side, Elliot Rearing. And your host, weighing 150 pounds, soaking wet, from Hamilton, Ohio, Ace Fowler.
Trace Fowler is not here, but we're here. We are here. Trace and Sean and Reed, they're all somewhere else. They're working elsewhere, trying to make money for the company. So that means you got another clown show. It's a clown show between us two clowns. Casey, what a beautiful day. By the way, I mentioned yesterday that I didn't have any traffic or anything like that coming into work. That was not the case today.
Oh.
Driving right through Ross, the road's closed. Road's closed. They're working on the road again. I think it's the 200th time in the past year. But listen, we're fighting through it. We fight through it. I'm not really concerned about it yet. I'm sure once they put up the makeshift stoplight up there, I'm going to start getting really upset. But as for now, I'm just a little upset. Just a little bit. What a beautiful day this is opposed to yesterday. I'm not a big weather guy. Maybe it's because I've been lucky and weather's really never affected me. But these tornado sirens and the lightning, what do they call the lightning? Thunderstorm warnings. It's just like, I don't care. I really don't care that much. It's going to rain really hard. Try to stay off the roads. Try to stay in your house. There is nothing more that I love than getting in my bed, opening up the window, and listening to a thunderstorm. It is the most soothing thing in the entire world.
Oh, it puts me right to sleep. My wife was terrified, however.
Really?
Yes, she hates bad weather. We live right by the 700 WLW tower. That just so happens to be right by the sirens that go off in the Westchester Mason area. Yeah. And so it was so loud. It only lasted for about like 5 minutes, but I've never seen someone jump up out of our couch, gather up the animals as quick as they possibly could, and throw them into the bathtub, and just like started doing this, praying that nothing hit us. And I was just looking at the radar, and it's like, this is a small little thing. It's gonna pass like maybe a max of like an hour, and I was right. It didn't last very long, but
and I hope everybody's safe. And, and I say that saying that I'm sure some places had it worse than others. Huh?
Were there tornadoes that landed?
I think there were a couple that landed elsewhere. I don't think there were any that landed here or where I live,
up north,
or where you live.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there were a couple tornadoes that touched down. And for those people, I hope you're all safe. But whenever I hear stuff like this, it's just like. It's just another rainstorm to me. It's going to rain really hard. I'm going to try to stay inside. I'm going to try to avoid the roads. And that's really all you can do. You guys don't have a basement, right?
No.
So you have no backup plan. If a tornado comes for you, you're cooked, buddy.
Yeah, and our bathroom has a window. Like, we don't really have a safe spot in our house. I just now realized that yesterday. We were talking about it, and I was like, even the one room that has no windows in it is the access point to our attic. So if the roof were to blow off, it's still not safe there either.
You're
so
cooked, pal.
I'm just cooked in my own home.
Yeah, our house does have a basement. It's a very scary basement. It's a creepy basement. The house was built in like 1900, 1910, something like that. So when you go down to our basement, it looks like it's I'm trying to compare it to something. It's like a cave. It's like if you go to like one of the caves and it's just pitch darkness. The grounds are kind of grimy. It's not finished. It was never started, and it's a gross basement. So if it was up to me, I'd just stay on my top. I stay up on the third floor. I'll stay on the third floor and take my chances with the tornado, then get down into the grime and the filth in our basement because our basement is disgusting, and I don't want any part of it. We just use it for storage, really. Nobody ever goes down there, so. Waste of space. But, yeah, if anybody's hurt from it, I'm very, very sorry. Hopefully everybody's okay that's watching this show, and hopefully everybody's okay around the tri-state area. But, listen, I don't put too much stock. We were at Skyline after the Reds game. We went to a post-game Skyline, and the sirens started going off. And I looked at my buddies, Olivia and David, and they said, "Oh, we got to get home, man. This storm's gonna get us." I'm like, "Well, I don't think the storm is like gonna change locations. Like if we drive home, I take my chances in the Skyline building than your Jeep Cherokee." So that was our
Fair
options, and I wasn't scared at all. But I did go to the game yesterday, Casey.
Which was a disaster.
The Reds game. Man, how about the Reds? What a special time. What a special time to watch the Cincinnati Reds. Yeah, I was there last night. It was, honestly, I thought it was going to get rained out. It did not. It rained a little bit, like towards the 7th inning, but not much. It rained for like 3 minutes and then stopped. Listen, we're going to talk about the Reds later on in the show. I'm going to try to be as optimistic as one can be when your team is terrible, but it's not good. The vibes are low. The fans are starting to turn. That's always really funny. When you're at the ballpark and the fans start to turn on the team and they start booing everybody. There was one guy, again, 3-2-1 night doesn't bring out the best behavior in some of the Cincinnati natives. This guy was on his feet, probably 15 beers deep, 15 $3 beers deep, just saying, "Go get a real job. Go get a real job," to every guy that swung a bat or threw a pitch. So, listen, I'm not going to say this is the end of the world, end of the season, yada, yada, yada. It's May 8th. But we're almost a quarter of the way through. We're almost a quarter of the way through this season, and we've taken a turn for the worst. The offense doesn't show up anymore. The pitching staff yesterday, outside of Frankie, and I'm referring to Justin Wilson, really, not good. Not good.
Sam
And
Moll
if the other team scores 3 runs, it's over. That's the craziest part. If the other team scores 2, it's really over. Yesterday they scored 2 in garbage time, but man, it's just brutal to watch. How was your night?
I enjoyed my night. I was watching the Reds. I watched up until it was 6-1. And
Yeah.
I think CES was up to bat. It was the last at bat before I think the end of one of the innings. I can't remember which one it was at the time, at the current moment. But India just hit that home run. I was like, oh, maybe there's a little life. I sent the text to you and I said, maybe there's a little life. Maybe we can get something going here. Boom! Right to first base.
I'm gonna be honest. You sent that text to me, and we were with a group of about 15 people. It was my buddy Zach organized. It was a fun little night. But I was with a bunch of guys, and they were all big Reds fans. And when India hit the home run, I sarcastically looked at him and said, "I mean, what's the point? Why even bother? Why even bother with a solo shot?" So yeah, that didn't help. It was over, but whatever. I'm just going to fight through it. I'm just going to put on a brave face. I'm going to smile through the pain. I think Roger put in our chat, shout out to Roger. And also shout out to the radio listeners. If you're just tuning in, shout out to everybody listening on your car or iPhone, whatever you're listening to us on. Thank you very much for your support. But Roger in the chat said the Reds lost 6 in a row several times last season. So,
well, they didn't make it to the playoffs either last season.
That's true. Listen, you can only, but they were competitive a little bit towards the end. They almost made it. You want to do headlines?
Yeah.
Let's do some headlines.
Let's do some headlines.
We can't get through them all, but we'll get through some of them here.
I'm going to skip around a little bit because just because how we have this written out, I want to skip around a little bit. Because speaking of disasters.
Oh.
The natural disasters. They come back. Colorado Avalanche. They were down 3-0 against the Dallas Stars in the first period. I get a little text from old Readeroo saying, those Avalanche, those disasters of a team, they are just done. They're finished. After the first period of game 1, I get that text. And, man, did they just come back. They rallied back in overtime, get the W, 4-3. They're up game 1 in the series.
My favorite bit, maybe in this office, is when you and Reed act like you're hockey fans.
Oh, yeah.
And Reed's a big Dallas Stars fan. He's seen them, I think, once live, and he can name 5 players. You, on the other hand, you say you're an Avalanche fan.
I can name 2 now.
And you can name 2.
Yeah. Nathan McKinnon and Casey Middlestat.
Let's be honest real quick. You didn't watch that game.
I watched the third period.
You didn't watch that game.
And then I watched part of the overtime.
I mean, I
just didn't watch all of it.
You can say that, and I still don't believe it. There's just no chance you stayed up and watched that hockey
I told you I was going to.
I know what you told me. But I say things a lot of times, too, when I'm lying. So I don't believe you.
Oh, you call me a liar?
I don't believe you. Yeah, I watched this game for about 1 second, and then I turned it immediately off. It's just like this doesn't move the needle. I try my best to watch things I don't like. I'll watch FC Cincinnati when I'm at a bar and it's on the TV. And I'll
Fairweather Dallas Star fan.
I am
not a true Dallas.
You're
Star
right.
fan.
I am not a true Dallas Star fan, and it's like I can't get into it. I think hockey's really fun. I think going to games is incredible. Watching on TV, it loses a little bit in translation. So you're happy. You're happy about the Avalanche.
Oh yeah. That was a great comeback.
4-3 victory, huh?
That's right, 4-3, and I can't wait to continue watching this series. It was actually genuinely pretty fun. If the stuff that I was watching, It was very competitive. Of course, I missed basically every single goal that the Avalanche had scored up until that point. I was busy, hiding from a thunderstorm, tornado. But I'm going to, I think, continue watching them when I can. Like, I think I'm going to try to get into hockey. But
listen, I'll do it. I'll do it if you do it. If you get me in a room with you and we'll just watch hockey all day, that's fine. The other hockey game, by the way, for those who care, the Rangers, they took a 2-0 series lead over the Hurricanes. They won again last night, 4-3. Vincent Trocheck. That's a name. Vincent Trocheck. His goal ended a marathon double overtime game. I do like in the NHL how they will go on forever. So that overtime will just keep on going.
Oh, yeah.
No shootouts or anything like that. So do they go to? They don't go to shootouts, right?
No, it just continues. Like, it goes to overtime period 1, and it's sudden death. So whoever scores first wins it all. And if nothing happens, they just go overtime 2.
Oh, I love that.
Sudden death. And I think it just continues like that. Someone can correct me in the chat. But I looked it up last night, and of course I was half asleep.
Yeah.
Trying to watch this puck game. How do you even say that? This game. And I think it's just a never-ending overtime. But anyways,
I think that's what it is. Never-ending overtime.
I mean, while I could have been watching the start of that game, I was too busy watching Game of Thrones.
How was it?
I mean, it's getting really good.
What episode are you on now?
So, Jon Snow and the Wildlings, they just met up past the wall. They're trying to get the Wildlings to the other side of the wall. And the White Walkers came.
Okay, so you got the hard home.
That was pretty intense.
So from this point on, the show is really, really good. That's what I'll say. So for any Game of Thrones listeners, and shout out to the Serious Sports Talk right now. The hard home starts the show on its new uphill trajectory, unlike what Reed says, and he says the show stinks after that. But
man, I can't wait for it.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. We got one more minute left in this segment. I will say on the show, we're going to talk about the Reds. We know this. Joe Burrow spoke to the media yesterday about maybe his bone growing or whatever that nonsensical reporter had to say. We'll get into that. We'll play some clips from Joey B. We'll talk about if the Bengals are better than they were last season.
That's right. That's a common theme around here at Chatterbox.
That's my favorite topic. Maybe we'll talk about if Evan McPherson can carry the load again. Other than that, listen, I'm going to try to do my best with positive Reds talk, but I'm going to be very clear. If you came here for a rational, positive, upbeat opinion on the Cincinnati Reds as they free fall down to nowhere, you have come to the wrong program. But saying that,
Well, I will say this.
Okay.
Which is $1 in the jar.
$1 in the jar.
We're going to rant about the Reds to start off this show.
That's right.
But you are going to give some answers.
Sure. I mean, I have a little.
You're going to give some answers.
I'm going to give answers. Yeah, I'm going to give answers, but those answers might not be what anybody wants to hear. So we'll do it. We'll try it that way. We'll come back. We'll talk about the Reds next, right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM, the best sports coverage in the Miami Valley. See you in a bit. And welcome back. We are back. Chatterbox Sports. If you're listening on the car or radio and you enjoyed that last serious segment of Sports Talk, you can come on YouTube and join the chat. The chat is a fun place to be. Hopefully we'll have some callers today because God knows we will need it. But saying that, I think it's time, Casey, to do a little headlines, the real headlines.
Yeah, that's right.
We didn't get through any of them last segment, so we'll get through them now.
Yeah,
let me do the Reds one. Let me do the Reds one because we got a David Bell clip I'm going to run here in a second. So we'll start with the Reds. The Reds were back yesterday. It was a day after an off day. They'd surely look refreshed, right? No. Not really. The Reds, they lose 6-2. Game 1 of the series to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Zac Gallen went 6 innings, striking out 6, and he did not allow a run. The Reds have not scored off a starting pitcher in 4 straight games. They've lost 4 straight games. David Bell, after the game, had a couple encouraging words to say, and I'm going to run those right now. So how is David Bell? What's the people clamoring for David Bell's head? Fire David Bell. It's his fault that the players don't play good. What is David's response?
David, you have the unique perspective of having also been a player. How tough is it to process the frustration at this point, and how can you help them with that?
Separating everything. I mean, tonight, I know we all know we've been struggling offensively over the last, since we've been home here. So tonight, just keeping it was about tonight. It was a new day for us. We came out and, we weren't able to get it done tonight offensively. Zac Gallen had a lot to do with that. So just it's one pitch at a time, one game at a time. We come back tomorrow and do it all over again, and that's how we'll get through this.
Frankie seemed to be in a rhythm from the start, and his velocity was up. What did you see from him?
Really good. I mean, the velocity was back for sure, but good split, good 2-seam, 4-seam, good cutter. I mean, he was really good. First time back, he had a 2-week layoff, so he wouldn't go too deep in the game, but he got us pretty deep into it, and a lot of that had to do with just how good his stuff was and how efficient he was.
Yeah, I don't think you guys have had a lead in like 42 innings. Mm-hmm. How important would it be just to scratch 1 run or 2 runs and play with the lead psychologically? Is that a big deal?
For sure, and it's going to happen. I mean, you want to play with a lead for sure. We've come back in our share of games over the last couple of years, but yeah, I mean, anything like that could be helpful, and just to take some of the pressure off. But the pressure is always going to be there. So whatever we need to do to win games, and we're again doing what it takes. But tonight was tonight, and we'll come back tomorrow.
Tonight was tonight. They'll come back tomorrow.
Tough.
Listen, that's my guy. That's David Bell. That's my ride or die. His post-game press conferences do not bring the juice. It is brutal listening to him. Now, listen, I love him. It's not his fault. Anybody who gives out the notion that David Bell is at fault for half our team hitting below 200, respectfully, you need to watch a couple of these games. David Bell can only do so much. Was it his fault that Justin Wilson came in and gave up 4 runs immediately last night? I don't know. That's up to you. But it's not his fault that the offense can't swing a bat. When you're a professional baseball player, you have to be able to swing a bat. And by God, they cannot swing a bat. Continuing on for the game there, Frankie Montas, as David Bell said, he looked sharp. Went 6 innings. He gave up 1 earned run. He struck out 7. So his first game back, Frankie Montas looked pretty damn good. The Reds sent down Sam Moll, again, a 0.00 ERA.
Tough.
I said I didn't think it would matter because Justin Wilson's pitched well. Boy, did that backfire not one whole day later. So Justin Wilson essentially ends the game. He gives up 4 hits and 4 earned runs. He recorded 1 out before being yanked from the game. Jonathan India and Tyler Stephenson, leaders of men, they both hit solo home runs when the game was already decided. But thank you for your service, I guess. 3 total hits. 3 total hits for the Reds offense. The average falls to 207. They are back tonight with Graham Ashcraft taking the bump. Jordan Montgomery takes the hill for the Diamondbacks. Montgomery comes into town with a 5.63 ERA. Surely tonight's going to be the night, right? Somebody's going to wake up. The Reds will score 5, maybe. Man, this is brutal. This is brutal. I can't say much more. I'll talk about it in a second. But, Casey, take us around the league, will you?
Yeah, the Rangers, they stomp on the Sacramento Athletics 15-8. They
Woo!
had a 10-run second inning.
There we go.
That is a lot of offense right there for a baseball team. Tigers win 11-7 over the Cleveland Guardians. Neither starter made it past the 3rd inning. Tough. Need to get better pitching staffs, apparently. Angels shut out the Pirates 9-0. 10-0.
That's good for the Reds.
Yeah, that's great for the Reds. I still think that they are behind the Pirates, unfortunately, when I looked at the standings the last time. So
but that helps.
Tough. That does help, though. Phillies, they continue to roll as they crush the Blue Jays 10-1. Nationals shut out the Orioles 3-0.
There we go.
Jesse Winker added 2 more hits with a double in that one.
How about that? Jesse Winker, that's our guy. That's the guy everybody wanted out of town and they cheer against. But I like Jesse Winker. So does Casey.
Yeah,
Good for that.
I like the
Good
wink.
for him.
Rays, they look to sweep the White Sox after winning again last night 5-1. And Yankees blow out the Astros 10-3 in New York. The Braves hold on against the Red Sox 4-2.
There we go.
The Chicago Cubs walked off the San Diego Padres in the bottom of the 9th inning on a Michael Busch solo shot.
I saw the highlight of that. That's brutal.
That's tough.
The Cubs, they win. Bad night to be a Reds fan.
Good nights, bad nights, mostly bad.
Yeah.
The Mariners win 10-6 over the Twins. The Brewers were down 5-3 and down to their final out in the top of the 9th against the Royals. Willie Adames, almost mispronounced that guy, hits a go-ahead 3-run blast to give the Brew Crew a win.
Bad night to be a Reds fan.
Again, another
two
really
clutch, massive home runs by 2 teams in the division to get wins.
Man, it's like they get offense when they need it.
That's right.
Mets beat the Cardinals 7-5. Giants shut out the Rockies 5-0.
Now this one, Casey, I have a clip for you on this one because I think it was the MLB Network. I'm not entirely sure. But the Dodgers no-hit bid. The MLB Network guy, I believe, was talking about how the no-hitter was about to ensue. It was a no-hitter warning. And I'm not kidding. 1 pitch into the game, the no-hitter ends on a home run, on a solo home run by the Miami Marlins. So the Dodgers no-hit bid ends on the first pitch. They still managed to cruise past the Marlins 8-2, but here's the clip.
Don't take this the wrong way, but we are already a no-hitter alert. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, before he throws a single pitch tonight against the Marlins, we have a no-hitter alert.
Okay.
Enjoy what could be a no-hitter from Yamamoto.
You know Jazz swing your first pitch.
Right here on MLB Network for Harold, CY, I'm Greg. We have a no-hitter alert. Enjoy this game live on MLB Network.
No-hitter alert.
In the major leagues to establish himself as that guy. Dodgers looking for a 6th straight win and a 13th out of their last 15.
Here we go. I'm excited, Casey. We got a no-hitter.
Yamamoto
Top of the first, no-hitter coming your way. Bang. No-hitter over.
A home run for Jazz Chisholm on the first pitch.
That's just brutal announcer's jinx right there.
Yeah, the people who don't believe in the announcer's jinx, there's a couple people in this city that don't. For those, I say, listen, you got to watch some of these things. That's a real thing. NBA news: Celtics, they appear to be coasting to an NBA Finals. They eviscerate the Cavaliers, 120-95. Derek White, he dropped 25 points. He has now hit 23 pointers on 37 attempts in his last 4 games. He's been incredible. Jaylen Brown led the way for the Celtics, though, with 32 points. Mitchell did his part for the Cavs, scoring 33. It wasn't enough, though. The Thunder rolled last night, winning 117-95 over the Dallas Mavericks. Irving led the way for the Mavs, scoring 20. Luka only scored 19 points. Shai Alexander scored 29 points, leading the way for the Thunder en route to the victory. Those are your headlines in sports. But now it's time to talk about the Reds, Casey. Time to talk about the Reds. And no, I do not want Joey Votto back on the Reds. I will say it is very funny how they got rid of Votto and the offense looks absolutely terrible, and they said there would be no playing time. Just didn't go our way. The Reds at this point, I don't think it's a sophomore slump. I think this is a little bit of who they are. I think they're okay. I think they're an okay team. I think they're a competitive team. They're better than this. They're certainly better than this. And that's the biggest point of emphasis. They can't continue to be this bad. Last year's roster was, I'm gonna read some of these names out to you. Nick Senzel, Kevin Newman, Joey Votto, Jose Barrero, Will Myers, Kirk Casale, Henry Ramos, Jason Vossler, TJ Hopkins, Hunter Renfroe, Harrison Bader. That total batting average there, 207. The average right now for the Cincinnati Reds, 207. This year's Reds team is better than last year's Reds team. Of that, I have no doubt. But I think you're almost too far into the season to say, man, these guys are really going to show up this year. This is going to be a big year for CES. As Kermit said yesterday, 40 home run season for CES. No. Not quite. I think they're better than what they are, but they're not going to be a team that this fan base hopes and expects for. And this is why I caution expectations. I try not to get too hyped on a team coming into a season. I fell into that trap last season for the Bengals, and whether or not they were riddled by bad luck, you can say that. You can say this year for the Reds, they were riddled by bad luck. But again, part of being good is being able to stay healthy. And I can't fault a team for almost seemingly never being healthy. I think the injury bug has caught the Cincinnati Reds organization all the way back really to 2020. 2019 too. Injuries have just riddled this franchise. Every single season I have to worry about which of my guys is going down. You lose Matt McClain. You lose TJ Friedel. Frankie Montas is hurt after a comebacker. Ian Jabot, and this is kind of breaking news as of yesterday, is seemingly done for the year. Ian Jabot probably won't be back on the Cincinnati Reds. And you go injury after injury, and it's like, how are we going to fight through it? Because this isn't the team that was designed. Nick Kroll had a plan coming into this season. He designed a roster. He designed a lineup against righties and lefties. He has two good catchers, so we thought. But we have a bunch of guys not performing right now, and it's not because necessarily that they're bad players. It's because they're all being forced into positions that they shouldn't be playing. I'm not going to sit here and kill the Cincinnati Reds today. I thought I was going to do that. I'm not going to do that. It's not what anybody wants to hear. It's not what anybody wants to listen to. Ellie De La Cruz is a damn good player. Spencer Steer's a damn good player. They're just all on slumps. Every single player on this team is on a slump. Even Ellie's average is starting to drop. Jake Fraley, seemingly the only guy who can get a hit against a righty right now. I'm trying to temper my expectations. I was talking to a couple buddies yesterday. What do we think the over-under is now? 75, 76? Because at this point, if this lineup continues to do this, and by God, I hope it changes tonight. I really do. But I don't see a way out of it. It's almost like the hot streak they'd have to have here, Casey, is like 3 or 4 games for me to believe it. I'm going to try to give them to the end of the week. And I'm going to say, let's look at where we are on Saturday and Sunday, opposed to right now. Because right now, this is rock bottom. I think Sadak said it on the broadcast. This is rock bottom as a Reds fan in 2024. I don't think it can get much worse than this. I could be wrong. God knows I could be wrong on that. But I think this is rock bottom. We're going to talk about that and some more. Some uplifting news, maybe. Some uplifting news. The Reds made some changes to the roster yesterday. We'll talk about that as well. Coming up next, ESPN 1410, Wing AM, Dayton. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll be back with you in a couple seconds. Woo, Casey! Woo! Woo! Welcome back. What an uplifting show. I'm trying my best, guys. I'm trying my best to be a positive Reds fan. I don't know how Nick Kirby does it. I watch this team, and I feel sad. Genuinely sad. I feel sad about watching it. I feel sad about what they could have been and what they are. And what they are right now is not very good. That's just a fact. I watch these games, and I tuned into a little bit of that Dodgers game last night. It's not the same sport we're playing here. It's really not. I think my good friend Austin Elmore tweeted that yesterday. It's not the same sport. I don't know how dejected I can look at Will Benson anymore. Will Benson, man, his at-bats are terrible. I know he had an 8-pitch at-bat last night. But strikeout. He strikes out almost 50% of the time. I don't know if there's a fix for that. I don't know who the hitting coach is. I'm not going to sit here and fire the hitting coach because half the guys can't hit. I don't know how much responsibility a coach has in that regard. Maybe they should fire him. Maybe they should fire whoever the hell the hitting coach is for the Cincinnati Reds. But I think it's just just an epidemic of slumping. And I don't know a way out of it, Casey. I'm trying to find a way out of it.
I mean, there's no. I don't think there is an answer to like getting a player in here that's going to change, like magically change how these guys are performing. I mean, it is a team slump. And when we look at other sports, when a team is completely
out of it,
when they're slumping, when they're doing poorly, we look at the coaching. We look at the guys that are in charge of the entire team, because if it was one player, that's an easy solution. That's an easy answer.
Yep.
It's the entire team. And I was really hoping to see something other than what I saw yesterday, obviously. Friedel, I mean, it's his first game back. I can't really pin it all on him. But my hopes were riding on him doing something for this ball club yesterday. And we got nothing out of him. Ellie, again, his overall dropping like crazy. Steer, he's at 240. I mean, he was in the 380s, 375.
It was early on.
But, I mean, he was on fire, and then he just burned out in flames. One thing I will say is, like, some of these guys are getting on base. Like, they're creating some walks, but you need more than that. You need more than just being able to get on base and put something together. Getting the single home runs, like, they're, like, some signs of life being there, but you can't win ball games with single home runs either. Like you got to put something together. You got to put a inning together to put some scoring together, and they just can't do it. They're so inconsistent right now. It's really just brutal to watch right now.
RM in the chat says, if you're not going to blame the hitting coach, who can we start blaming? That's a fair point.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd argue it starts with the players themselves. At some point, you can only teach so much. If you go up to the plate and you by the way, the Reds struck out, I think, on, what was it? They watched 20 pitches yesterday, and it was brutal. It was brutal. These at bats aren't the same. The game before they strike out swinging heavy. Today they strike out swinging looking. Strike out looking. But it's bad. Will Benson comes in yesterday. He strikes out twice in his 2 at-bats. He gets a walk, but he strikes out twice in his 2 at-bats. It's not good. Half these guys aren't major league hitters, and that's a fact as of today, as of right now. I don't know what else there is to say, really. Buck Farmer, he came in garbage time, did his job again. Emilio Pagan, garbage time, did his job, 3 strikeouts in an inning. Got the pizza. That's always fun to see.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I thought TJ Friedel would have done something for the Reds, and he didn't. Yesterday, the roster moves coming into the game, which got the fan base a little bit back on track. They activated TJ Friedel. Frankie Montas obviously came back, started the game. Connor Capel, he came up as well, which is big, because that means they had to send down Nick Martini and Bubba Thompson. Poor Bubba Thompson. Bubba Thompson got sent straight down to Double-A. He skipped Triple-A, and we're just going to go straight to Double-A.
Thanks for your service, bub.
Yeah, thanks for your service, bub. This is brutal to watch. There's nothing else I can say really about the Cincinnati Reds. I'm not going to spend too much more time on it. At the end of the day, Jeimer Candelario, he looks terrible. I'm going to read some of these batting averages right now, because this is a major league lineup here. Will Benson's hitting 191. Jeimer Candelario, who you're paying $15 million to, he's hitting 184. 184. You have Jonathan India hitting 222. You have Christian Encarnacion Strand hitting 190. You have Stevenson hitting 213. Steers hitting 240. You have 2 guys on your active roster that are hitting better than 250. Nick Krall can't replace an entire lineup. I said that yesterday. You can't expect the general manager, the front office, to replace your entire team, especially when some of these guys you think are the future, and they are. But when you're going through it, I guess you just have to go through it. There's no way around it. There's no way around this. The Reds are so bad right now, they can't beat anybody. They can't score any runs. My biggest fear is that if the offense does decide to come back, show signs of life, the pitching's going to go away.
Yeah.
Because the pitching's the only reason that the Reds have a chance. The bullpen's been mostly good. Starting pitching's been great. But eventually, water finds its level there too. And I'm very concerned that's going to start happening eventually, some point soon. If the starting pitching gives up, and our offense still looks like that, the Reds might be one of the worst teams in the league. They might be. Because you can't continue this. You can't do it. But that's it on the Cincinnati Reds. We're going to open up the phone lines here. If you have a question about the Reds, I'll try to give you an answer. But I'm going to try to keep things mostly light. I'm going to try my best. Ellie De La Cruz, he looks good. He makes a couple good plays yesterday. Shout out to Ellie. But man, Casey, it's brutal to watch.
Yeah, there just seems to be like no answer, right? That's the problem. I feel like that's where we're all just sort of like in this really poor state of mind with the Reds. There's just no answer except for guys just playing better.
Yeah. Andrew said he placed a massive parlay on all Diamondbacks related props. Smart. That's a smart thing to do. I might join you.
Quickly before we get to this this caller here.
Yeah.
What are your 3 things that you're looking? What 3 players need to step up? Like 100%. Like they need to be playing better. Like for me, Steer has been dropping off significantly. Yeah. Like I would like to see him play a little better because I know he can play better. I don't know about Candelario. I think Candelario is what he is. But in your opinion, who are the 3 guys in this lineup that you look at and go, the drop off from what you're performing at right now is too significant that you need to be playing better than this?
Well, I'm going to give you 3. I'm going to start with TJ Friedl. I know it's a cheap shot to go right here. TJ Friedl 0 for 4 yesterday, his first game back. I'm not going to look too much into it. But TJ Friedl has to be good. We need something from our center fielder. And respect to Stu Fairchild, he's done a serviceable job in center field. He can't hit every day. He can't do it. So TJ Friedel's going to need to be good. Jeimer Candelario is another name that has to be good. He has to be better than 180. You can't be that bad. It's impossible to be as bad as he's been. He's another name. And my other answer, and I'm going to continue to keep saying Will Benson. Will Benson looks lost at the plate. His body language is terrible. He slumps back to the dugout. He slumps up to the plate. He's just sad. It looks sad. Those are my 3 guys as of right now offensively that need to be better. Pitching-wise, I'm not going to pick on really anybody because there's no one to pick on. They've done their job for the most part. Nate Seltzer, member for 2 months. Shout out to Nate. I don't even know if you wanted me to read your last name. That was my bad. Elliot, the reason this team is not performing well is because there are no hungry dogs on this team. If there were any hungry dogs, they would run faster. They would hit better. There's just no dogs.
There's no dogs.
Maybe that's a fair point. Maybe that's a point. Maybe there's no dogs on this team and nobody's fighting. I don't think that's the case. Maybe Stuart Fairchild's a dog. Maybe Spencer Steer's a dog. I don't know. But as of right now, nobody's fighting. It seems like nobody's fighting offensively. We have a caller.
Yep, we got a caller.
Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, he didn't. Oh.
Say it one more time.
This is Kevin from Chicago.
Kevin! How we doing, Kevin?
Pretty good. How are you guys?
I'm doing okay. What you got for me?
Okay, so, I think you brought up a really good point, the hungry dogs, because we saw that last year. And I think it has to do with the spirit of a lot of these guys that aren't hungry, like Benson and the Candelario signing and the whole spirit behind that and what that signaled to the team. And he's not a hungry dog. And just being around that energy, I think that you can really pinpoint a lot of this as an energy thing. I think these guys are sucked dry of that hungry dog spirit from being around guys. And you watch Candy, how can he act the way he does around the players on the field? I don't know if you pick up on the little things he does with them and how he carries himself. He's just a lot of extra. How can you do that when you're not performing? And then you look at Ohtani and how he said, I'm going to join the Dodgers like a rookie because it's a new team for me. How do you not come in humble and contrite like that? That has to do something to the clubhouse.
Yeah, Jeimer is a weird one because he came into spring training and he was terrible. He was abysmal. You could see it. You could see it with stats. You could see it in his body language. This season for the Reds, again, it's continued. Everybody could pretty much see that spring training thing was just going to roll right into it, and it did. It happened, and he's still been terrible. He's hitting 180. It's hard to hit 180. You give. I'm trying to rationalize a $15 million a year guy hitting 180. I can't do it. It doesn't compute for me. And I have a theory that whenever you sign some of these contracts, I think it happened for Mike Moustakas, you get a little comfortable when you have 3 years and you're getting paid $15 million and you feel safe, you feel guaranteed money's coming your way. And maybe that's like a part of it. Maybe that's like, you know what, I got my money. And if I don't do well, I don't do well because I have my money. And I do think that's an attitude for some of these guys, and whether it's right or wrong, I think that's the case. But yeah, I agree with you. Jeimer Candelario is certainly not hungry right now, and it's showing around the rest of the guy. There's no energy. There's no energy offensively. The only energy I've seen is, and I say this not out of like jest or anything like that, I've seen it out of Jonathan India and Ellie De La Cruz. I see those guys avidly cheering on people from the dugout. Jonathan India on Saturday night, I was at the game against the Orioles. He was on the top step. He was cheering as loud as he could cheer. It was him by himself right there. Nobody else was near him. That's what I want. That's what I want to see, a little bit of fight. And it seems like they're losing their will. They're losing their fight. They're losing their energy. And at some point, the tide's going to have to turn. I don't know when it's going to turn, but hopefully it does soon. Kevin, are you a Chicago Cubs fan or are you a Reds fan in Chicago?
Oh, I'm a Reds fan in Chicago.
I like that. I like that, Kevin.
I'm from Cincinnati. I've been up here about 15 years, but no, okay. I never, ever would become a Cubs fan, ever.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, Kevin, thanks for your call, man. Thank you. We needed it today. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Have a good one, buddy.
You too.
It's a good question. I look around half this league, or half this lineup, and I just don't see any life. I don't see it. I'm trying to look for it, and I can't find it. Last night was pathetic. 1 hit through 6 innings. Got to be better than that. Got to be better than that to give us a chance. We don't have another call, right, Casey?
No other callers at the moment.
So what we're going to do here, we're going to go to break right here on ESPN 1410, Wing AM. Best sports coverage in the Miami Valley. Shout out to everybody listening into your car or phone or radio or whatever you are.
We just got one if you want to.
We'll save it. We'll save him when we come back. We're going to break. We'll see you in a bit. Welcome back in Chatterbox Sports. Again, I am not Trace Fowler. I'm running on fumes today, as Trace would like to say. I am running on fumes a little bit, talking about the Cincinnati Reds, because you can only circle this wagon so many times. Nobody circles this wagon like Reds fans. Last night, Reds fans are starting to cannibalize themselves. Bryce and Nick, they're trying to lead the charge for being positive, bringing hope, a beacon of light to this very dark fan base. And this fan base is struggling. We're in complete pitch black darkness right now. It is hard to find any light whatsoever. But they're trying their best, and I commend them for it. I hope the Reds will get out of this. I hope they win a game tonight. I would really appreciate a game win. Jordan Montgomery is a good pitcher. He has a 5.6 ERA. Can we get more than 1 hit in 6 innings? We'll find out. We got a caller, though, Casey. Caller, what is your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is the viewer formerly known as Chi-Town, another Chicago guy calling in right now.
2 Chicago guys have called in, no Cincinnati guys. Shout out to you guys, Kevin and Chi-Town. What's up, buddy?
Well, I'm just real quick. I'm in a little bit of a predicament, right? And this predicament kind of helps Elliot and KC too. But Elliot, you're pretty down right now.
I am.
My predicament is I'm also a White Sox fan now too, because I've been up here for a while. My wife's whole family's a White Sox fan, so I literally have to watch these Reds and the White Sox and just drown in sorrow with both, my wife and my pups and my cat. Like, everyone in the house is just not having a good time. So they all love you. You guys are the bright spots of our day a lot, but it can get worse, man.
I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it, because the White Sox are miserable. And really, Reed points this out. The White Sox were the Reds a couple years ago. They had the young core. Yeah. They went out and got a couple of veteran pitchers. They looked good. And then quickly the tower fell. And they are back to being absolutely nothing. And I'm concerned the Reds are there. I don't think they're that bad. But I will say this, if this offense continues to hit, and there's a chance they might hit under 200 by the time this week ends. I don't think that's going to happen, but there's a sizable chance I'm looking at a sub-200 hitting baseball club. And that's a hard thing. Let me ask you this, Chi-Town. When I'm trying to move houses here soon, and hopefully I move out of my parents' house relatively soon, do you think I should go up to Chicago? Do you think? Because I think that's where I might go. I might abandon the Cincinnati life behind, and I'll just be a Chicago Cubs fan. Maybe I'll abandon ship. What do you think?
Don't say the Cubs, though. I mean, there is the White Sox. I mean, I know it sucks right now, but the White Sox aren't going to be terrible forever, and they hate the Cubs just as much as we do. So it's kind of a brotherhood up here. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I feel you.
If you want to, hey, you're welcome. And that's where I work. It's all on the South Side anyway. So Northwest Indiana, of course. You know my old name, formerly known as.
Formerly known as.
Yeah, but I just wanted to call, and let you know, man. It's we're all in this together, and there's a lot of brotherhood, obviously, up here in Chicago. Okay.
Thank you. Hey, listen, I'm gonna try to come up to Chicago and visit you. Hopefully, maybe not this season, maybe next season. We'll see. I'm gonna try to make my way up. We'll go to a White Sox game together.
All right, man. I'll be here.
All right. Thank you. Listen,
hey,
that's Chi-Town Real Estate. If you live in Chicago, go use him. He's a real estate guy. Do we have another call?
Nope. No other call.
Okay, just making sure. Listen, I see a couple people in the chat talking about who should we have signed, yada, yada, yada. There's nobody. We couldn't have signed anybody else. I would have argued the Jeimer Candelario signing wasn't a great signing to begin with. At the time we signed him, it was a roster filled with infielders, depth. You didn't really need Jeimer Candelario. What everybody needed was an outfielder, right-handed outfielder, a power bat. The Reds team doesn't have any power whatsoever. I don't know what else to say. We have 8 home runs by Ellie, 4 home runs by 3 different guys in Will, Steer, and Stevenson, and then we have 3 home runs by Candelario, Martini, and outside of that, it's a whole lot of nothing. Christian Encarnacion Strand, the 40 home run king, he has 2 home runs. India, 2 home runs. Jake Fraley only has a home run.
And here's the thing about blaming the front office for not getting the right guys in the building. Like, it's one thing if we're going to talk about who they could have signed, it's one thing to talk about it when your organization is not the Reds organization, who have continued to make mistakes over and over and over and over again in free agency. So you shouldn't expect anything less than that at the moment until they prove you otherwise. There's no point in bringing this up because we already know what the Reds have done historically. Yeah. They've struggled to bring in guys outside of the prospects, and that part sucks. And I don't think like that's the conversation we want to have today. Is what they should have done. The conversation most fans want to hear is answers, and unfortunately, and I've said it already a couple times on the show, I don't think there is an answer. And that's why it's so hard to talk about them right now, because there's not really an answer. Basically, the thing that we can do here for you, the fans, is sit here and say, you guys need to step up.
Yeah.
You got to step up. That's all that we can do.
Yeah, and there's nobody that can save this. We wanted the move to be made. They made the move. They brought up Connor Capel. They sent down Martini. They sent down Bubba Thompson. You can't go out and sign everybody now to replace CES, Candelario. It just doesn't make sense. I know people would want that. I want it too a little bit, but it just doesn't make sense to sign a bunch of free agents that probably aren't good enough to be on the team anyway. And by God, it looks like half these guys aren't good enough to be on this team. But listen, we're going to stop talking about the Reds. We're going to switch over to the Bengals because Joe Burrow had something to say at his press conference yesterday. It appears that our boy is healthy. Healthy-ish. He looked good. We keep seeing him on the field with his backwards hat, maneuvering as well. Listen, I think the Bengals are in good shape this season. They're playing an easy schedule. You got a quarterback that's mostly healthy. Again, we're going to play some audio from Joe Burrow here in a second. But as of right now, my vibes have switched to the Bengals. I'm good vibes regarding the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, it's always going to be good vibes when your franchise quarterback is healthy and throwing the ball. And all reports say that it looks pretty.
Yeah.
And there's also reports saying that he looks bigger. And I think you can actually notice the difference a little bit in that he's put on some weight because he needs to be able to protect himself and to not get hurt as much as he has been. So kudos to Joe on that. But yesterday he had a decent presser. I wouldn't say that there was anything crazy that was dropped, but there was some nuggets. And we have 5 clips here today. Just some little nuggets from Joe Burrow. We'll start with him addressing his injury.
Okay.
We'll start there and go from there.
This has definitely been one of the most challenging parts of my life for the last several months, but we're getting through it and continuing to improve, mentally and physically every day. So it's definitely a challenge and a process. First off, try to be out there for training camp, get as many reps as I can with the guys. I'm going to be smart about it. If I need a break, I need a break. The wrist maybe is going to hurt sometimes, and I'm going to be honest and with myself about how my body's feeling, maybe a little more cautious than I have been in years past. So that's kind of been something that's been on my mind for the last couple months, and so I'm getting better at that.
Do you think the injury-prone title is fair to label on players?
No, I don't. Most of the time, I don't. I think there are certain cases, like season-ending injuries, more times than not, are not injury-prone issues. Injury-prone is when you have the same strained calf over and over again. It's when you have a back that you keep having back spasms, or you get certain soft tissue injuries all the time. And, of course, Joe Burrow has had his fair share of soft tissue injuries with his calf. And he's had other instances where he's had some other injuries. But to me, the season-ending stuff is not indicament.
It's usually on the play. It's usually on the plays that are a dive at the knee. You're doing something.
Yeah, like his rookie season, I don't blame him for getting his ACL and his entire knee blown out. That was on his offensive line.
Yeah.
Last year, he had such a fluke injury that no quarterback in the league currently or in the past, Joe Burrow couldn't find any quarterback that had gone through the same injury that he had.
Yeah.
That's how fluky of an injury that was. It's only happened to O linemen and D linemen. So, I mean, it's just like there is something to be said that you get hurt all the time. I don't know if I call that injury prone. I think that's I think we can find a different term for that.
I was listening to, I forget who I was listening to on FS1, and they were basically saying, Burrow needs to stay healthy. If he goes down again, he's going to be labeled as an injury prone quarterback. And I don't know if the injuries that Burrow has sustained in his career have labeled him that. I will say if he goes down again, if he's not ready for the start of the regular season again, then I'm going to start having a little bit of doubt, a little bit of concern for Joe Burrow. But for all intents and purposes, he's been able to fight through these injuries. When he's been on the field, he's been elite. He's a top 3 quarterback when he's on the field playing football. Of that, I have no doubt. It's just, will he be able to play every single game this season? Will he be able to play every game this season healthy? In the NFL, and I think we have a clip from it, Joe Burrow talking about 18 games, what that would look like, and it's basically it kills bodies. It's destroying these guys' bodies. You go out every snap, and it's a war out there. And Joe Burrow, he takes a bunch of hits due to a not great offensive line. The offensive line has improved, mind you. But no, I don't think Joe Burrow is an injury-prone quarterback, and I think he's going to recover from this nicely. I think he'll be ready to go, fully healthy, as he said, in hopefully a month or so.
One of the things that he said that was a little telling was he talked about how his wrist, how it'll feel throughout the season, throughout this training camp process, how it's going to be in some pain. But the little nugget that he said in there was that he wants to be better at listening to his body.
Yep.
And clearly last year, he didn't listen to it very well because he strained his calf, right?
Yep.
Was wearing the compression sleeve on his calf. They threw him out there. He wanted to be out there. I think he's truly going to start listening to his body. He's Joe Burrow. Like, he's going to be great regardless. You can take time off, brother. Like, you don't have to be this robot all the time. We love that about Joe Burrow. We love that he's just a machine. But for the start of this season, I'm glad that he said that he's going to do more things to listen and take care of himself, including just taking time to rest his body. Those things were all encouraging to hear. I'm going to play the next video. Let's do the extended season, because you brought that up earlier. This is his thoughts on a 18-week season and what the NFL league should do about it.
Definitely something that we've thought about. 18 games is definitely a big ask. That's not easy. Adding that extra game, obviously, it'd be great for revenue, but I feel like adding that bye week, if you're going to have the 18 games schedule, is pretty critical for our bodies, because if you keep that first bye week and then some teams have the bye week 5, week 6, and then you're going 12, 13 games in a row, that's not easy. Probably a Thursday night game thrown in there too. So that's never easy. So those 2 byes are pretty critical. Maybe you could do something like the first bye is kind of how we have it now, and the second bye everybody has it at once, and you make it like the Pro Bowl week or something, like an All-Star break for the NBA. I don't know. People that get paid a lot of money to have those discussions and make those decisions, but we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I do think most players want that 18th game. It's more money for them. I mean, it's more money for them. It's more money for the owners. It's more money for the NFL. But do you think most players want to deal with that?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. And he mentioned the second bye week, and you'd have to have it, right? I think Roger Goodell came out and said that he would have a second bye week if that did arise, if that situation did arise where they added yet another game. But that's one of those things where, and we talk about shortening the MLB season, shortening the NBA season. The NFL it started out 16 games, now it's 17 games, and we're talking about 18 games. It's a lot on these guys, especially for the position players down in the trenches, at the lines. It's knees, it's elbows, it's arms. It's a lot of body movement down there. It's a lot of weight to be dealing with every night, every week. And like he said there, 13 weeks without a bye, that's brutal. I mean, that's brutal, especially when you have to go on a Thursday night and maybe play on Sunday because of, again, money. This is all about money. This is the NFL. As a fan, as a viewer, I love it. I love the idea of playing 18 games, regular season. Love it. But I imagine a lot of these players wouldn't want that.
Yeah, the way that they would go about doing it is pretty interesting as well. If they do go ahead and add that 18th game, that second bye week, that makes it to where that Pro Bowl week is, I think, moved or scrapped, or it makes it to where the Super Bowl always ends on like President's Day or something like that, or the day before President's Day, which is always nice. But it makes it to where some of the league functionality is more streamlined too, like the trade deadlines and things like that are shifted around and make more sense logically. I don't have those figures off the top of my head, but I do know that if they were to go through with that, I think they lose like a week in the preseason as well, which who really needs preseason, to be honest with you?
I agree.
Most of the time what happens is players that you're hoping on starting and making significant snaps get hurt, and I just don't need that. I'd rather them get hurt when it means something, if they are to get hurt. So, yeah, I mean, I hope that if they do come to the decision that they truly do listen to both sides of the argument. I want the players to get paid appropriately for it as well, but I also want them to be able to take care of themselves, take care of their bodies.
Yeah, financial compensation, I imagine, won't be too much of an issue. I think the issue will be, can your bodies hold up for it? And that means how much guaranteed money are you able to get? That'll be the crux of the issue. We'll talk about the Bengals some more, maybe a little bit about the Reds if somebody wants to call in. Other than that, we're going to take a quick little break here on ESPN 1410. See you in a minute.
All right, let's go to our ads, and also we have 2 more videos from Joe Burrow's presser, and I'll talk about the 2024 prospects as well. So that's what you have to look forward to. Again, if you want to call in, the number is 888-513-2269. We'll get to calls if you do want to call in after this little break here. And, yeah. The Bengals and Reds and FC and all the other teams.
Did we talk about
around
FC
here.
today?
No, but if we do, they play Columbus Crew, which is nerve-wracking.
Hell is real.
I'm not recovered from the last.
Hell is real. How many Hell is reals? What's the FC Cincinnati's record against Hell is real?
It's not good.
Is it not good? They have 2 wins. 2 home wins, right? I don't think they've won there, have they?
I don't think they've won there. It's not been great. I know that they are like what the Steelers used to be to the Bengals. They pretty much dominate them in that regard, and they did so in the playoffs, in the MLS Cup. So that was tough. Anyways, that report brought to you by Encore Technologies. Encore Technologies provides IT solutions for a data-centered world with the suite of services from remote computing to desktop to data center, supporting both centralized and work-from-home computing modules to improve efficiency and
productivity.
The path to innovation begins here. Visit encore.tech. And let me tell you about this lovely bottle of water right here. You hear that, chat? That's the sloshing of Pawnee water. Pawnee water, made right here in Hamilton, Ohio, uses natural limestone filtration, unlike the artificial processing that other brands use. The result is a healthy alkaline water, and some say the best tasting water in the world. Visit Pawnee Water at PAHHNIwater.com to see where you can buy this great tasting water. And that concludes our ads. If you want to become a member, check out our description, and we do membership streams. We do a Quiplash.
Quiplash 2 is coming. Is that right, Casey?
That's right. Quiplash 2 is coming. It's in the works. I believe we will eventually get to doing some like watch-alongs as well. I think we really want to try to do that. And in the future, I think we want to do like some really cool things with like gaming. We want to start maybe a college football dynasty thing with the members. Maybe even an NFL one. Maybe we'll extend it out to all the different games. MLB, the show, the 2K, the basketball game, and we'll see. But we have plans to do a lot of different stuff with the members here in the next month or two. Plan on having extra content behind the scenes as well that Elliot's going to be working on. Yeah, we're super excited. We want you to check it out.
And Brian is really excited about it. Everybody get in the chat and tell Brian to become a member. He is very, very excited about the opportunity to become a member. So get on Brian for that. We will come back into the radio here in a minute. Everybody like the stream. Listen, Casey and I are trying our best. We're trying our best. We're in an empty ship right now. Ship's going down. But listen, we're going to fight till the end. We see Jack on the Titanic, or on the little, what is that? The little lifeboat, the little piece of driftwood with Rose. They're on there right now together. Now, I don't think it'll last for very long.
No.
But that's what we're looking down as the Titanic's sinking here. But that's it. We're going to come back to the radio, and we're going to talk some Joseph Lee Burrow. Welcome back to the radio. Welcome back to the YouTube stream. Welcome back, everybody. Chatterbox Sports Off the Bench. I am Elliot Rearing. That is Casey McAllister. What a day, Casey. The sun is shining today. Unlike last night, the sun is beautifully shining through our windows here in this studio. I will say these windows look like they have not been cleaned in quite some time. Maybe I'll do that today. Maybe I'll clean our windows. I think that would be a good, helpful job for everybody.
Yeah, cleaning up the studio a little bit. That would be nice. Yeah,
I think it's going to be torn apart, though, tomorrow.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be torn apart tomorrow. But that's where we are. Listen, we're trying our damnedest. Back to the Bengals, because I wanted to finish this. I saw a tweet yesterday, and yes, I did see. I see Brian. I'm looking at the chat right now. Very, very, very funny. I saw a tweet yesterday from Warren Sharp. The best division in the NFL. I said the Bengals schedule is easy. I want to make something very clear. The Bengals schedule is easier. It's not the easiest schedule in the world. It's easier than last season, which was the hardest NFL schedule, I believe, of all time. I'm pretty sure that's how they described it. You played 13 teams in the playoffs, so that's pretty wild. Or 13 teams with winning records. I forget what the exact number was. Either way, this is the best division in the NFL, winning percentage in non-division games since the year 2020. We'll start with the bottom. The AFC South has a 37.8% winning percentage against teams not in their division since the year 2020. Not very good. NFC South, 43% against teams not in their division. NFC North, 48%. NFC East, 49%. AFC East, 51%. AFC West, 52%. NFC West, 54%. The AFC North, and you saw that clip from C.J. Stroud and Micah Parsons, where Micah Parsons was saying somehow the AFC North wasn't the best division in football. Since the year 2020, the AFC North is 62.6% against teams not in their division. 62.6% of a clip they are wielding against non-teams in our division. And that's not including our division where everybody beats up on each other and it's hard to win. The Bengals went 1-5 in a division that was tough. A very tough division without a quarterback. If the Bengals' success next season depends on anything, it depends on being better in the division. You can't win one game in the division. The one game can't be a meaningless game in week 18 or 17, whatever week we're at. The final game of the year. The Bengals' success depends on what they do in this division against the Steelers with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields returning kicks, Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore Ravens, and it depends on beating the Cleveland Browns, which the Bengals have not been great at. That's where their success is going to come from, as well as a healthy Joe Burrow. Casey was going to ask me, is this team better than they were last year? I don't know. My question is, as of right now, yes. I would say yes, it's better. I don't think they can be worse defensively. I think offensively, you still have your guys. You lose Tyler Boyd, but if I'm going to be completely honest, I don't think losing Tyler Boyd was exactly a giant loss. I don't think Tyler Boyd was doing enough last season to warrant a mention. But the Bengals' success is going to determine what they do in this division, that division stuff. Casey, if you had to guess right now, predict right now, that is, if the Bengals are going to have a better than 500 record in our division, what would you say?
In our division?
Yeah. That means 4 wins.
No.
That's okay. Listen, it's a tough division. I would say no as well. I'd say hopefully they can get 3 wins. Let's win the 3 games at home, and we'll call the road games washes, I guess. That's what we'll call it. And I think that keeps you alive. If you do your job against the easier schedule, then the Bengals will be fine. The Bengals will be fine. We have a couple more clips from Joseph Lee Burrow. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Let's play one.
Okay, let's play one.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Those guys have their business that they need to take care of. I support them in every way. Both those guys have earned everything that's come to them and more. So I'll support them all the way through it. Whatever they feel like is best for their career, that's for them and their agents and their families to decide. But we're here to win football games. I really hope both those guys are here with us next year because we're a better football team with both of them. And they're both great locker room guys too. So they're going to do what they got to do, but when the time comes for them to come back, if that time comes, we're going to welcome them back and hit our stride.
Yeah. Just Joe Burrow on his thoughts on T. Higgins and Trey Hendrickson's situation right now. I mean,
the Trey Hendrickson thing, that couldn't have blown over any faster, right? I mean, that was it's almost a non-story.
I mean, is it not still ongoing? I mean,
it's ongoing. But it's just one of those things where I don't think anybody's taking the threat of retirement very seriously.
I mean, most people aren't. I am a little bit.
You're taking the threat of retirement seriously from Trey Hendrickson. He's going to walk away from those millions.
He's already got 45, 60 million. So I don't know. To me, it's like, if he is serious about the retirement thing, it will be because he's had some injuries in the past, some stuff that has limited him. He's got family. I think he has a daughter. And some guys, they just don't want to be torn up without being compensated. You know what I mean? I mean, I feel that. I understand that. I understand the mentality. I know how my father was, hardworking man, construction. And, you do this work, you expect to be paid. You're tearing down your body, working hard, building structures and things for other people that make millions of dollars off of your investment. So, I mean, to me, it's what Joe Burrow said is basically how we all feel, though. Those two are very integral to the team going forward. they gotta take care of their business, I guess, and that's how he feels. I mean, I would have been a little more upset with the situation that's going on because of the contract that Burrow did sign. I mean, he's trying to keep everyone there, and you're telling me that they don't want to be there, and that the Bengals can't get a deal done with those guys to make it happen. That would make me a little more frustrated. I'm sure this is more just player speak, but at the same time, that's who Joe Burrow is. He knows that he wants those guys to eat. He wants them to get paid. He wants them to get their chickens in a row, as Marshawn Lynch would say. And he also wants them there for the season because he knows that makes them a better team. So,
T. Higgins, are you concerned about T. Higgins this season at all? What if T. Higgins decides to? And I guess the answer is no, because you're playing for a contract if you're T. Higgins. But I would say if you're not happy with an organization, it's hard to come into work every day and be like, you know what, I'm gonna put on my best foot forward today.
You know what does worry me? We talked about when we talked about how he's viewed, if he's like a top 20 receiver, top 30, whatever, yada yada yada. Bengals clearly don't view him like that. If those rumors were true. How do guys perform when they do sit out, like their preseason, and maybe even more than that? How do they perform when they come back when they're not at the top of their game? Like Jesse Bates, like he came in that couple weeks and he was Jesse Bates. Like he didn't need time to recover. Guys like Le'Veon Bell, when they sat out the whole year, they were no longer Le'Veon Bell. They were no longer the same guy.
Yeah.
I do kind of concern myself with that. Does T. Higgins, is he in that category where he's just too good to where he doesn't need that time to prepare? I'm sure he's going to, work out, but there's a difference between football shape and just being in good shape.
Yeah.
And knowing the I'm sure he's going to have the playbook with him and whatnot, but there's a chemistry thing there. And I think that's important too, because we saw that the chemistry was off with Joe Burrow week 1 and week 2. I mean, they were just trying to finally get into their groove. I do wonder if it's going to be something similar to that. So that would be my one concern with T. But I don't think that's a huge concern.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a massive concern. I don't. I think if you're concerned about one or the other, I guess Trey Hendrickson would technically be the one to worry about because of the retirement, which I don't buy. I don't put any stock into that whatsoever.
But him
I don't
not
take
being
it seriously.
He's still going to be Trey. Like he's in that category. Well, he'll just be fine.
I agree with you 100%. I answered the question. Do I think the Bengals will be better? Do you think the Bengals will be better than they were last year?
So when we brought up this question last year, were the Bengals better 2022 than they were in 2020 or 2023 and 2022, however we want to flip that discussion around. Anyways, when we brought that up last year, we talked about the talent that we brought in versus the talent that we lost and how that was more of a one-for-one trade.
Yeah.
But the one thing that we didn't really discuss was the depth on this team last year. I think it really reared its ugly head, and it could have been a lot worse. If we lost one guy in the offensive line, it was not looking great. This year, I feel much more comfortable about the depth in a lot of positions. I feel great about safety. I feel great about corner. I feel great about the linebackers. I feel great about a defensive tackle. If one of those guys goes down, I still feel like we're going to get pass rush there. If we lose someone on the offensive line, we've got Demarius Mims now for the tackles. We got Matt Lee. I feel really good about depth on this team. Receiver, I think it's got a lot of depth, and guys are only going to improve. The one spot that you look at and go, I don't know if it's improved or gotten worse is the running back spot. And to me, that's like you're only using that spot. You're only running the ball 15 times a game anyways. So what big of a difference is it? I think you're not losing a whole lot in terms of the passing game for the running back position either. So to me, the team, it may not be necessarily better in terms of like starting talent, but I do think depth-wise it is far, far better. Much, much better.
That's fair. That's fair.
And I think that's a huge – it's going to matter a lot more this year than it did last year. To think that you're going to have a healthy offensive line 2 years in a row is just bonkers. So
Blackmore in our chat says, who will the Bengals take at 18 in this year's draft? Who do you think? Who do you think they'll take?
I don't know, Denzel Ward or something, or whoever that guy is from LSU.
That's it. Listen, we're going to go to break, and when we come back, we're going to wrap this up. A little bit of Reds, a little bit of Bengals, and we'll all go home. You've been listening to ESPN Dayton 1410 Wing AM. We'll be right back. And we are back. We are back and better than ever. Shout out to Mike Greenberg. Listen, Everett asked in the chat, why wasn't the team that had their franchise quarterback injured for 90% of the year better than the team that won 12 straight games the year before?
Hold on. Well, when we talked about that, it was with a healthy Joe Burrow in both scenarios. Like when we had this conversation last year, Joe Burrow has not had that injury that cost them the beginning of the season. So that's why. I mean, like I don't know what that exactly means in terms of this year compared to last year, because I don't think they really gained a whole lot. I think they traded, right? I think that's a fair way to compare it. The spot where you lose your stalwart defensive tackle, nose tackle up the middle, you replace that with a guy that is going to add you a lot more pass rush in Sheldon Rankins. So that to me is the only spot that you really look at and go, okay, well that was a good trade. We'll wait to see how much of an impact that truly makes on the team, because they were one of the worst teams at defending the run last year.
Yeah,
even with DJ Readers. So I mean, that we'll see. If you want to maybe give them the edge this year, it's going to be because of the tight ends. I think they've massively improved that room, added a lot of depth, like I said before, and they added Mike Gesicki, which I think is a steal in this free agency. I think he's going to end up being a really, really good threat for us. And I think what you traded with like Tyler Boyd to Jermaine Burton and the rest of the guys behind him with the Charlie Joneses and the Andre Yoshibasas, I think that those guys will be able to supplement what he was able to provide you for most of his career, and some more of a deep threat than what Tyler Boyd was. So if we want to just address this one more time, I don't think that they necessarily got massively improved. I think they traded for different pieces, which is fine because they were already a really good football team. They were already a top 10 football team going into last year before Joe Burrow got hurt. So yeah, that's my take on that. I think that they're still a top 10 football team, and I think they got better in different areas where they really struggled in, but got worse in areas that they still struggled in. So
the key difference is you're playing an easier schedule. Do you think the offensive line will be better this season? The offensive line I feel like is under improved every single year.
Under improved?
Yeah, they get worse every single year. Last year I think they did not do that for what it's worth. I think last year they almost stayed pat. I don't think they got better.
Well, last year the key thing about last year was what they decided to do to help them, which was start really running the ball, going off of play action, rollouts, things of that nature to help them limit the amount of pressure that was on the quarterback, and it was mainly on the quarterback to get the ball out after he gets to the top of his rollout. Things like that have really helped that offensive line performance, especially Cordell Volson. You just look at the difference between when Joe Burrow was in there and when Jake Browning was in there, and it's night and day. So for me, I think what we've seen so far is a commitment to getting under center more often with Joe Burrow, especially just from what we've seen here recently with him coming back. Some of the first snaps that he took were from under center, and they were him rolling out and throwing it to the tight ends, which I would love that. I would love for them to get more under center and be more of a balanced team. that way that they can face more heavy boxes so they can throw it over the top more often. I think that's when the Bengals are at their best, is when you get to throw the deep balls one-on-one with Chase and T. Higgins. And we'll see how the philosophy changes with our new offensive coordinator, but I do expect it to be better. I do expect it to be a lot better. And I think with that comes a behave offensive line performance.
Reed says they've been better every single year. Every single year the offensive line has been better. So maybe
marginally, yes.
Maybe I'm wrong. We have one more clip from Joseph Burrow. Is that right?
I do have one. It's more of a cherry on top.
Cherry on top? That's fine. When you look back at next season for the Bengals and you look at the end of the season for the Reds, who do you think we're going to look back and say, all right, I'm happy about that?
The end of the Red season, beginning of the Bengals season?
Yeah, so maybe the Reds go on a historic run here. Maybe they go on a little 15-game winning streak.
That would be so nice. To be honest with you, I really want to see Ellie and Steer and Friedel just take over. That's my hope. That's my hope and dream. I think if those three just end up taking off, that will be right there in the mix for a lot of different things.
Yeah, I think. Listen, I said that as a joke because I'm looking at this Reds team and I don't see a way out of it. I think we're seeing who they are, and who they are is a mediocre baseball club, and that's okay. It's not the world's best team. I think you saw what happened last year, and you thought, hey, the Reds were going to win 100 games this year. No. They're going to probably win 80 games at best. As of right now, it's hard for me to picture 80 wins. If they're going to play this poorly.
To be fair, they're 16 and 19.
16 and 19, which is not good. I mean, that's 16 and 19 is not good.
I know it's early though. I'm saying it's
early. You're playing Mouse Cop in the chat. We're not even winning 50. Yeah, I think. Listen, maybe they don't win 50. That would be funny. You're playing the hardest schedule in the world right now. I get all of that. But at the end of the day, it's hard for me to see a way out of this. Can Will Benson improve? By the way, they can't get worse. Nobody can get worse from what they're playing right now, and I guess that's the point. Yeah. Maybe the only way to go is up from here. But I'll say this: if they stay like this for the next couple of weeks, this team is doomed. And unfortunately, that's where we are. And I don't mean to be down and negative, but I am. I've seen too much. Last night, I was more mad than I've ever been. They don't show up anymore. The offense doesn't show up anymore. Zac Gallen's a very good pitcher. I don't think Zac Gallen's good enough to just no-hit you through 6 innings.
I agree.
And that's unfortunately where we are. Tonight's a different night. I'm gonna do my part. I'm gonna cheer them on. I'm gonna root for the Redlegs. But do I realistically think that this losing streak's gonna end? No. No, I don't.
When we asked ourselves last year what was more frustrating, the idea that we had this prolific offense and our pitching staff just continued to let us down time and time again, or is it more frustrating to be the Brewers who had this great pitching staff and a terrible offense? Well, now that we have that, I can safely say, 100% say, with all the confidence in the world, having no offense sucks.
It's bad.
It sucks.
I don't remember a time really where they were this bad for this long offensively. I don't remember a stretch where you were hyped on the Reds coming into the year, and then you see a stretch like this, because this stretch is brutal. I don't remember that. I don't remember a time where Joey Votto, Jay Bruce, Todd Frazier, Brandon Phillips went 2 weeks where legit every single player couldn't hit a baseball. I don't remember that. Yeah. Now, I could be wrong on that, but I don't think I am. Tonight a must-win game, says Mouse Cop.
Yes.
Yeah. Every game's a must-win game for me, if I'm going to be honest.
It's a must-win for morale.
If I'm going to be honest. How is it going to get better? You go into San Francisco on the road and you face that pitching staff? Gets better there? I don't think so. Arizona on the road, when you just lost to them here, does it get better there? I don't think so. Dodgers on the road? Probably not. This is as tough as it's going to get for the Cincinnati Reds. If they can't fight their way through this, then unfortunately, I think it will be the end. I laughed at Trace's notion that being 3 games under 500 shouldn't be your expectation. You should expect to win. You should expect to have a winning record through this stretch. I was wrong. I had too high of expectations. Every night I get proven wrong on that. And I'm just going to try to fight through it as a Reds fan. And that's all we can do. We haven't seen a lot of winning in our lives. It's not going to start this week. It's not going to start next week. You're just going to try to hope for the best. How about that? For uplifting.
I mean, we really tried. For those listening on the radio, we really tried to be positive about this Reds team. I think we've just been beat down because we watch it every day. It's not like we don't.
Yeah, I mean,
we're not like watching it occasionally. We watch this team every day, and when we see the same thing over and over and over again, it just gets a little demoralizing. So it's hard. It's hard to be positive at the moment. It takes a strong-willed, strong-minded person to continue to stay positive about this Reds team. I know I tried to be, but losing the way that we have for the last week or two, it's just been brutal. But unlike that, I know a lot of people have moved on to the Bengals.
Football season. It's football season. I
will not do that yet. I'm a big football guy. I'm not ready to give up on baseball yet.
Yeah, I've got like 20 more Reds games to go to, so I'm gonna be here all year long. But
all year long?
All year long, all season long.
I'll tell you this: I'm ready to get into hockey, if anything. I'm ready to watch this playoffs. What?
You don't watch hockey.
I'm ready to watch.
You
hockey.
don't watch
I'm
it.
Ready
You'll
for
say
it.
you watch it, and then you won't watch it.
I'm ready to devote my time.
I want. You know what you should do for the members? I want a live stream of you watching an entire hockey game. That's what I want.
Okay, we'll live stream the Dallas Stars game and the natural disasters, the Avalanche.
Yeah,
that'll be
game,
so
that
fun.
game. The puck drop there is what, 11p, 11:30p.
It's pretty brutal. It's pretty late. Yeah, so I mean, that's where we're at as Reds fans. We're trying to talk about hockey and football, which doesn't start until what, July, August.
Yeah.
So it's just brutal at the moment.
The cherry on top.
Yeah, let's get into the cherry on top because I think this will send us off with a good note about the Cincinnati Bengals. A last clip for Joseph Lee Burrow and his mentality. What drives him? What gets him motivated to stay on top of his game?
My why is always just continuing that drive for greatness, continuing that drive every day, trying to improve. You know, I'm addicted to getting better, and that feeling. There's nothing like the feeling of getting better because that makes the day-to-day really worth it. Once you start to see the results of the work that you're putting in, there's nothing like that, and so that's really what I'm striving for every day.
That's what he's striving for every day, to be more improved than he was the day before, to always be better, to try to obtain perfection.
That's right.
What more can you want from a guy that's the face of your franchise?
Can't ask for anything more.
A true dog.
A true dog.
Which of the Reds are going to become a true dog today?
What a question.
Which one of you is going to be a hungry dog?
That's right.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. Listen, that's been our show on the radio. Thank you very much for listening on Wing AM Dayton. We appreciate everybody. Hopefully we'll have a full cast of characters on Friday. Casey and I are trying to manage the load here. Load management day. That's it. ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM. We'll see you guys later. All right, Casey.
Oh, my God. That was so
brutal.
There's just nothing to talk about.
Yeah, I needed. And by the way, there's only so many Reds guys, and I try to ask Reds guys, and they all got work during the day. So that's, I tried. But listen, we got two guys that entered the studio at 11:30 today, and we're gonna plan. And what is that shirt?
Yeah, let me carry this if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So good greetings to everybody off the bench crowd. Here's the deal, right? You pick up a stray dog out in the middle of the street, and you're like, hey, we're gonna help this guy out. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna try to get him on his merry way. Yeah. Pick him up, build him up, teach him the new ropes. I said, hey, Jeremiah, you got any collared shirts you think you wear to this golf outing or this golf event? And he said, yes, I do. I said, okay. I was like, something you go golfing in, maybe nice dinner. Maybe I shouldn't have said nice dinner, okay? Because my man Jeremiah rolls into this morning with this on. Now, I'm not trying to be disrespectful by any means, but this is some silk. What is this?
This is
Where do you buy something like this?
So you can find this at your nearest Plato's Closet or Ross. It goes for $12 exactly. There's no tax or anything before or after.
Is that real gold?
Gold plated?
Some would say, yeah, I don't let anybody get too close.
Yeah, that's smart.
It causes a lot of doubt and tension, as you can see. But, hey, Trace came in to save the day. We got my –
Turns out he has a hat. I guess, and by the way, the hat that he has on, I don't know if he's just
What is
doing –
that? What does that say?
No,
I don't know.
No.
I don't know if he bought this hat or excuse me. I don't know if this is the only hat he owns or if he wears this hat because he knows that I bought it for him, okay? But I got this hat for him when we were out there. I think we were at the Grand Canyon. That's back when, just to remind everybody, he had like basically shorts and a T-shirt, and it was like 40 degrees outside.
Yes.
So we ended up having to give him a hoodie. He didn't have a hat and didn't have sunglasses, and it was the brightest day of the year outside. So I was like, here, I get you a hat. You know, I've tried to help people out when I see him. I remember Casey, he wanted a Canes hat when he first started. I'm like, sure, let's get Casey a Canes hat. You know, these are the types of things I like to do. Now, having said that, again, he's got a Trails Forever, some kind of, I don't know, looks like he's about to go hike the mountains.
Yeah.
His hair doesn't look like it's been cut in about 3 weeks, which is fine. You know, some people go for that look. And then he wears this to top it off. So then here's the kicker. This is the best part of the story. I say, you know what? I'm going to do something that I told everybody I was going to do for a while. I'm going to go downstairs. We're going to get you a polo. We got some nice gear downstairs. You know, so I'm going to get you a polo. I get it out. It's pretty wrinkled. He puts it on downstairs. It looks good in it, by the way. So I'm like, yeah, you look appropriate now. We can actually go somewhere. The problem is that it was super wrinkled. I come upstairs. I say, you know what? Let's get headlines involved. Let's try to get this. Let's go under the heater a few times.
Okay.
Let's get this thing looking nice. I get it looking nice. We come into the studio. This is how dumb this kid is sometimes. All right? You can't be this dumb. You know, I think you're dumb sometimes, Elliot. This guy is on another level of dumb. He comes in. He wrinkles the shirt up in a ball. In a ball. I look over and I say, where'd your shirt go? He has it. He's sitting on it. I mean, listen, I don't know if it's the biggest mistake we've ever made having him come around for a year or if it's the best thing. I'm trying to figure that out as we speak right now. It's almost like if we can find – he's supposed to be the cameraman, and the more I think about it, we need to have some kind of like vest that he wears with a GoPro on front of his face every day just to film what he does. Because at this point, you have no what are we doing?
So about sitting on the shirt, I'm just going to keep it like – I don't know what happened there. I don't know. I walk in and I got the jitters. I got excited because I saw my best buddies are over there.
Yeah.
They're on the show.
Yeah.
I'm sure Mark Fetters is in the chat somewhere. I like Mark Fetters a lot. What's up, Mark Fetters? But I came in, I got excited, and I sat on the shirt. It wasn't a smart play, bad play by me.
Yeah.
You know, I get made fun of in here for wearing a lot of sweatshirts, and that's my
hoodies.
My shtick.
I think would be what it is.
Let me ask you this: it's going to be about 85 today,
right?
Okay.
You thought that was going to be a good shirt to wear?
So
85 in the sun.
I rolled out of bed and
he knew collared shirt, and that's all he had left.
Well, Trace said nice dinner, collared shirt, and I've never had a chance to wear the shirt.
Well, there's a good reason
Thank
for it.
God for that.
Yeah, so I wore the shirt and I walk in and like everybody's looking at me like I'm
Do you think they wouldn't look at you?
Well, I don't know.
You're covered in gold. You're covered in gold. That's the most preposterous shirt I've ever seen in my entire life.
I mean, if you
zoom in on that shirt.
You're not old enough to go to Boogie Nights yet at Hollywood Casino. They love you at Hollywood Casino wearing that.
Hollywood Casino. Download the Game Time app, code CBOX. We still doing that? Check out the shirt.
Blackmore says issue 2 has its downsides, and you're seeing it right there.
Issue 2.
He's got no clue what that means.
I'm not too familiar with issue 2.
No,
it makes a lot of sense.
I bet you're more familiar than us.
Yeah,
I bet you're more familiar than me for sure.
But anyways, you know, we're out here. We're trying to help the folks that are you know needing helped up, and here we are.
There's only so much he can take, ladies.
I tried. You know, I mean, the shirt, sitting on the shirt after you know I just did all that to try to help my man out. That was the depths of hell because I just don't understand how we could say, hey, you need a better shirt. We go get a better shirt, and then we run it through the heat thing like a couple of times to make sure it doesn't look like it's super wrinkled, like it's been sitting in a basement for 4 weeks, or maybe 4 weeks is in 4 months. We come in here, I look over, and I genuinely go, what happened with the shirt? And you're sitting on it, and not only are you sitting on it, you decided that this was the angle of attack that you were going to sit on it in.
Come on, I folded it.
No, you did not. Well, if you folded, I'd hate to see the rest of them. But anyways, guys, how are you? How was the show, by the way? Was the show good?
It was.
You don't feel good about it?
No. Casey, you look like you're ready to just go home. Casey, you don't look.
Listen,
too
it
excited.
was tough because, like, for the first segment, we literally tried to avoid talking Reds and Bengals as much as humanly possible because we were going to have to use those two things the whole rest of the show.
Sure.
And there's just not a lot to talk about the Reds. There
was two overtime NHL games last night, guys.
Oh, we talked about that.
You watched them?
I watched the Avalanche.
You didn't watch.
Oh, you watched
the
the
Avalanche, baby.
Oh yeah.
Who you kidding? I'm a big fan. I've been to one NHL game. It was the Avalanche, and they won me money, so I'm an Avalanche fan.
Oh yeah.
So that's gonna be Trace. That's gonna be the next thing. It's gonna be like, there's Trace. He likes Georgia football. He likes the Green Bay Packers. He likes Kansas basketball. He likes the Reds, and he likes the Colorado Avalanche.
I love that. There's 2 Avalanche fans here in this room now.
Yeah.
It finally outweighs the Dallas Stars fan.
Well, what's our best player's name? McKinnon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought McKinnon was the guy that scored the goal late. It turns out they just have another guy that looks just like him. He's just fast. I don't know what his name is. But
who do you think is the second best player in the Avalanche?
Probably Roman Vizijewaj.
Yeah, that guy. Casey Middlestat's pretty good too.
Yeah, Casey Middlestat's real good.
Yamir Yager? Is he still in the league?
Yeah, I by the way, I did laugh at your joke last night on Chatterbox Reds. I think your power went out at some point, but I saw the joke where
you like that?
You were talking about you've been leaning over the toilet watching this Reds offense for the past week and a half. I was at the game last night, Trace. When I say there couldn't have been lower vibes in that stadium, all 3,000 people that showed up.
Right. 14,000 was the actual number they said.
Sure.
You're saying it's...
Yeah, sure. 14,000. My ass. The 14,000 people that showed up to that game. And again, I'm not going to get on people for not showing up when the team has 1 hit through 7 innings of baseball.
Yeah. Well, they've had 6 hits this week.
That's treacherous.
But boy, is it tough to be a Reds fan, Jeremiah.
I'm just now getting into the swing of baseball, pun intended.
I was good.
So far, so bad. I'm not a very big fan of the Reds. My buddy offered me a free ticket, and I declined it very quickly. With that being said, did anybody tune into WWE Backlash?
No.
Okay, well, Cody Rhodes defeated AJ Styles. Big deal. AJ defeated Cody's dad. Cody's dad sadly passed away. Rest in peace to the great Dusty Rhodes. But you guys need to catch up with the WWE. It's on fire.
I don't know who's on it. It's on fire in all the homes of folks that have shirts that look like that.
Give me a break.
Yeah,
AJ Styles losing is actually a pretty big deal, right? Like,
He is a big deal.
Isn't he
He
like
was
the
massive
biggest?
Are you talking about Harry Styles, the singer?
No,
Harry
AJ Styles.
Oh, man.
I mean, this
show's taking a turn for
well,
the worse.
WWE talk. I mean, it's like talking about who won at the Oscars, and even then, it's not as good as the
that's actually
Oscars.
semi-real, right?
What's real?
The Oscars are semi-real.
Yeah, the Oscars are real.
Listen. WWE it's real, but it's not real.
It's
Obviously,
predetermined.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Predetermined.
Like if
I like how they come up with the word predetermined.
Trace, if I tell you to go hit a swanton bomb off the Hell in a Cell through an announcer's table, are you going to do that, Trace?
Well, no, I personally wouldn't. No.
Exactly.
Come on. I wouldn't.
And the Oscars are all
Let's talk about
predetermined
Mick Foley back in the 90s getting thrown off the top.
So you're fired up about the athleticism you're seeing.
I'm fired up about the athleticism. I didn't watch it for years, but now that
but
Vince
if I
McMahon's
told
out of the
Casey,
company and all
like
that,
Jeremiah though, if I told Casey to go tackle you, that's what the WWE is. He's actually tackling you, but somebody else is telling him to do it.
Yeah, but it's not just a tackle. It's like
you gotta
it's like a backflip tackle.
So it's essentially like people get invested in the WWE because it's like a soap opera. It's like a movie, right? A really long movie. It's already predetermined. Someone knows the actual end result.
Correct.
It's just that you don't know the end result, so you're captivated by that. I think I just got it. I genuinely it just clicked in my head. I get why people watch it. I understand why people watch it. I'm sorry. It's not for me, and for that reason, I'm out.
Think about saying something like, I can't believe the script makers made the Bengals lose the Super Bowl again. That sort of conversation.
Yeah, that'd be tough. Some people are saying that that's what happens. That's not what happens in sports.
Correct.
But it does in the WWE.
You know, with that point, with you bringing up the scripting, I want to put this out there. For those of you who genuinely believe that the NFL is scripted, and you also have an opinion talking about not watching the WWE because it's scripted, and because you think it's boring because it's scripted, but you watch the NFL that you also call scripted, you contradict yourself. That makes no sense. The WWE.
That is a good point you made.
The WWE physically and mentally, because you got to think about how much they're traveling.
That's
they're
right.
traveling like every single day throughout the
talking
week.
about travel?
So, huh?
We're talking about the travel?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're stretching it here. I think you're really stretching it. Hey, these guys.
I'm sticking up for them. I like the WWE.
Well, I'm not suggesting it's not hard.
They're still wearing themselves out. It's not like they're.
Sure. It's a workout. I'm not saying it's not hard.
Yeah.
It's not a hard day's work. I'm just told they know what to do. They know what they're doing.
Right. There's no real actual sport involved. I think the reason that most people like sports is because nobody knows what's about to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When I went to SmackDown like this past weekend when it came to Cincinnati,
Yeah.
like the vibes, like being there watching it, just like hearing them act was kind of like because I know that I know that they're not actually beefing, you know.
Gotcha.
But when I'm watching it behind the screen, I mean, I can just sit there with a bag of kettle corn and, you know.
You like kettle corn, huh?
Yeah, he's a kettle corn guy.
Kettle corn's pretty good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well,
so we're back. What, Friday?
That's up to you, pal.
Friday at the course.
I think we're doing Friday at the course.
Yep.
I'll have my
full-fledged off
I
the
think I'm
bench.
going to the course tomorrow to help out with something and for Sean. So I'll have my collared shirt. We'll compare collared shirts.
Yeah,
I have
as long as you don't wear the Barstool golf one, I think we're good.
I'm not wearing that one. I'm wearing a blank polo. It's
Blank?
green, but it's
Blank?
Doesn't have it has no design on it.
I'll be wearing a Chatterbox one.
Nice. Good job, Casey. Company man.
Real Jeremiah, let's see.
We got to get Jeremiah some clothes. We got to go out to the golf course. But otherwise, I just wanted to come in here and show this. I at least had to have this on video that this actually did happen. And would have just. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we should frame that and actually just. But how much would you buy? How much would you sell that to us for?
This shirt?
Yeah.
If somebody gives me $25 right now, you can have it.
Can't do it.
Didn't you say you bought it for 12?
Can't do it.
Yeah.
So he's doubling it and some.
And some.
Yeah,
I guess
no,
that's the inflation that Joe Biden's talking about.
Well, no, I mean, it's just
this is the
cover and
shrinkflation
warning.
he was talking about. You ever seen that video? Best video that Joe Biden's ever done. If you've ever, and this isn't political, of course. This is just funny. Called comedic relief. Yeah, go check out the Super Bowl ad or Super Bowl message that old Joe Biden put out about shrinkflation. That is good stuff. Boy,
He's talking about ice cream.
Boy,
and
did he
everything
get
else.
to the did he have Lay's
to the
potato
nitty-gritty?
chips shaking in their boots?
I'm
I
gonna
bet
have
the
to check
CEO.
that.
You know,
I bet the
I'm pulling it
CEO of Frito Lay right now is just like, oh my
You're not gonna
gosh,
find
we
it.
better make these bags bigger because Joe's mad.
I'm
You're
gonna
not
check
gonna
the
find
chat.
I'm gonna find it.
You're gonna find Joe Biden
Yeah, you are.
shrinkflation.
I know for a fact if you can look up the Super Bowl day, and you can get on X.com and go to his Twitter account, and you can find it, and it is gold. I mean, it is pure gold. There's nothing better.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter if you're a Democrat, Republican,
Sure.
Independent, Green Party, Blue
Sure.
Party, Orange Party, whatever party you're from. We can all get together and say this right here is pure gold. Casey, what a man for finding this so fast. Take it away.
I like the chat.
The Super Bowl Sunday. If you're anything like me, you like to be surrounded by a snack or two while watching the big game. You know, when buying snacks for the game, you might have noticed one thing. Sports drinks bottles are smaller. A bag of chips has fewer chips, but they're still charging it just as much. And as an ice cream lover, what makes me the most angry is that ice cream cartons have actually shrunk in size, but not in price. I've had enough of what they call shrinkflation. It's a ripoff. Some companies are trying to pull a fast one by shrinking the products little by little and hoping you won't notice. Give me a break. The American public
Give
is
me a
tired of
break.
being played for suckers. I'm calling on companies
We're
to stop
suckers.
this.
With all seriousness, do you not think when I show up to my favorite sandwich shop and I look down at the old what is that? Vickers, Miss Vickers chips. She's got like 7 chips in her bags now. Miss Vickers, by the way, she used to hustle. I'm just visualizing this now. Miss Vickers, she had this original recipe of potato chips she made for her little family, and they loved it. They brought their kids over. They brought their families over, and they're like, Miss Vickers, you should try to go big time. And she was like, you know what? I am. I'm going to live the American dream. And she started making these chips. I bet they were plentiful. They were big. She was like, we're going to make them bigger than Frito-Lay. We're going to make them bigger than the barbecue chips. We're going to make them bigger than everybody. And then Miss Vickers, she does what a lot of suckers do. She got in big. She got powerful. Everybody loved her chips. And then she was like, you know what? We're going to make our bags so damn small that at some point they're going to be made with just air, and you're going to get to smell the chips, and people will still buy them. So Miss Vickers.
I think it's Miss Vicky's.
Miss Vicky's, Miss Vickers, you're a joke.
It's a ripoff.
You got to listen to Joe.
Yeah, she's blowing a lot of hot air up everyone.
Seriously, I think there should be a competition of Miss Vicky's. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Miss Vicky's?
Miss Vicky's potato chips. Whoever has the, I'll tell you what, we'll do it. We'll play a game over the next month. If you find Miss Vicky's potato chips with the least amount of chips in them, and this has to be video recorded. I'm not doing no picture when the chips are next to the bag. You got a video opening the bag up and counting them one by one. If you find one with the least amount in it of all of us, I'll give $100 to the winner. Ooh. I'll give $100 to the winner. I want to showcase how ridiculous this can get. So if you're getting some sandwiches out there, don't forget, Miss Vicky's, open the bag, video it, count the chips. I bet, what do you think the over-under is on chips to the winner?
18.5.
Oh, I think it's less than that.
You think it's less than 18.5?
Oh, I think it's like 12.
Yeah, I was going to say 12.
Over, under 12. You're going over.
I'm going over.
I'm going to say over.
I'm going 12. I'm saying they're
well, here we go. This is what we're dealing with.
Oh, come on.
I said over, under 12. He said I'm going with 12. All right. I mean, all right. Well, that'll do it for us on this show.
He wants the soccer line. He wants the tie.
Yeah, the tie.
Way better odds.
Tie. Speaking of ties.
I probably need a tie with this shirt, huh?
Yeah, maybe.
What kind of tie would you go with? Would you go with a checkerboard? Would you go with the stripes? Would you go with the solid? I want to know what your style would do. There's only one right answer, by the way.
So let's see here.
This shouldn't take long. There's only one. There's only one tie. There's only one tie that you could do on there.
Honestly, I probably wouldn't wear a tie with it.
Well, that's not the answer.
But if I had to choose a tie, probably like a checkered tie or something.
Yeah, I mean, what
I don't know.
You have to wear a solid tie, dude. I mean, there's only
okay. Listen. If I got to choose a tie with this shirt, I'm wearing a solid, like rosy, like dark red tie.
Dark red.
Your brain is beautiful.
It's brain. Yeah, I know. We need a cap. In fact, it's our problem if we don't make him a star. And it's not. It's not for the reasons that most.
I'm a star in the making, gentlemen. We all are.
That's right.
That's right. All right, I'll let you guys. We hijacked your show. Hopefully, we filled in. What time is it?
11:48.
Damn.
They needed something.
I thought we did a really good job there. I thought we helped you boys out.
You listen. You came in at the last second. We could have needed you around segment 3.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but this for the radio would have been real bad radio.
No, well, this would have been great. I think they would have loved it. Yeah,
they probably would have.
I mean, yeah, they.
Jeremiah, what'd you do during the tornado last night?
Oh my gosh. You guys want me to get into that?
I can only imagine. I got it. Here, I'll tell you what.
Listen, during the tornado, played some video games, got yelled at by the girlfriend. It was not good. Terrible time. I thought like my window was going to get ripped out. Like it was bad. I saw trash flying everywhere, people flying in the streets, tumbleweeds. It was
oh my Lord.
People were flying in the streets.
It was not good. I'm telling you, I saw like bad things, gentlemen. Bad things last night. Terrible storms. I hope everybody was safe.
That beats me trying to gather all my cats up and throwing them in a bathroom. That's people flying in the streets.
I can't imagine that sight.
I was gathering up all my like favorite memories and stuff. I didn't think I was going to make it out of there.
You didn't think you'd make it, huh?
I haven't seen a storm so
Meanwhile,
bad.
he was Check Tuesday and in the middle of a Warzone game.
What's up, brother?
What's up, brother? Tuesday.
Right.
Spiral Pass, brother.
That's it. We'll be back at some point this week.
Friday.
God bless America. God bless this country, and God bless Casey McAllister. We'll see y'all later.
God bless you all.
Jeremiah.